all being murdered down there, and then
Sure.
they carve them up for the ivory and the meat and leave the carcasses.
Yep. And elephants don't forget. And so when they see the little Sambos running around, they attack them.
That's right.
The fear on the street, gentlemen, is palpable. Palpable, rather. I got a note here from a cop. He says, ever since the election of Barack Obama as president of the United States in November, coupled with the election of a Democrat Party majority in both the U.S. and House, the Senate and the U.S. House, rather, concern for the United States and personal safety has ignited like a fire in dry grass. He says, and I'm only going to read in part here, sales of guns, black guns, rifles, shotguns, and handguns, particularly 9mm, everywhere have gone through the roof. AR-15s have literally flown off the dealer's shelves. And now in the spring of '09, I've seen the display samples of ARs begin to reappear on the wall of my favorite shooting emporium after the initial post-election rush. They're still, with the ARs, the manufacturing, some of the major suppliers are still 150,000 guns behind in arrears. Not only that, ammo is in the shortest supply he's seen in 43 years of his shooting life. He goes on to say that what is odd about this new fear is it's not coming from the average citizen gun owner out there, but it is coming from what, to me, is almost a shocking source, street cops. Street cops and SWAT cops that I know from various agencies, rural, suburban, and metro, in my area are scared. Cops that before November 2008 never gave much thought to politics or, more importantly, to gun rights for the most part. These are the guys that didn't generally have the interest in shooting or gun ownership beyond keeping track of their duty gun. The guys I'm talking about now are some of the same guys who used to not even carry off duty on a regular basis. They don't scare easily. Defenders of the Constitution of this state and the United States, as our oath of office reads, have been buying ARs, survival gear, and all the ammo they can lay their hands on.
Why do you think Smith & Wesson stock's up 130%?
They're going like crazy.
Sure. Great stock to own. What can I say? You can profit by other people's misery. Yeah, I mean, it's not only, there's half a dozen, I think there's about half a dozen gun-related stocks out there, and they all have very similar returns as Smith & Wesson. I think Smith & Wesson is leading the pack. But, yeah, if you like mining stocks, you should love gun stocks.
By the way, just to finish up on this cop story here, he says, you can hear this topic discussed, and it's the American Revolution. You can hear this discussed on many talk radio shows, even by the big-name host. The possibility of an armed revolution against the U.S. government is being discussed, albeit very gingerly and fleetingly, and as something to be avoided, which it is. I never heard this mentioned in the 90s. One of my quietest, low-prow officer friends brought it up to me the other day. He said that at some point in the near future, he felt there is going to be an armed revolt if things keep going the way they are. Something has got to give. I was shocked. Yes, I had heard this from some of the more radical cop friends in the past, but to hear it from a guy like this was unprecedented. Now, these guys are not saying this will happen to foment revolution, preach sedition, or even to participate. They just want to be ready if it happens. Well, I would suggest that you guys out there wearing the badges and wearing the guns, you were not born cops, you were born, you were an American citizen, you had a right and a duty and an obligation to perform as a function for the keeping of this great republic before you went to a police academy and before you strapped on a gun and pinned on a badge. So let's just take it from there. That's just what you do for a living. What are you going to do as an American? Let's go to the phones. Dave in New York. Hello, Dave. Hello, David.
Comment for you, John, and then I want to go over to Bob. John, back in 1991 and 1995, Senator Moynihan did sponsor a bill to abolish the CIA. It was called the End of the Cold War Act. I agree with you. It should be abolished. They've been operating domestically. I saw in a documentary once where a CIA agent even set up a file on a girl who wouldn't date him. So I have called on Senator Leahy, Senator Feinstein, to abolish the CIA because of their activities on U.S. soil. And, Bob, no one's afraid of them. They're more like Charles Manson. They get somebody else to do their dirty work. Charlie didn't do it. He got somebody else to do it. That's how the CIA operates. Bob, what I want to talk to you about is I heard you on another show. You said that people are ordered to do the bad stuff for the bad guys. Otherwise, they face consequences. And I want to tell you, that's not really true. In New York here, I don't know if you remember the driver's licenses for illegal aliens, where Governor Spitzer ordered people to do it. And this was before the group Oath Keepers was in existence. And they used their constitutional oath of office. They wouldn't go along with it. And one of them actually came back and sued the governor for giving him that order. And then when the governor rescinded it, he dropped the lawsuit. But the bottom line is there's mechanisms in place not to do the bad work of the bad guy. And anyone who's doing the work of the bad guy, whether they're a private citizen or someone in government, it's for one of three reasons. Either they're ignorant, they're a coward, or they're a sellout. And it was demonstrated here in New York that you do not have to do the work of the bad guy. You do not have to face consequences. And the truth is, he may be the one facing consequences if you have the knowledge, the spine, to come back with your legal action, and if you're not a sellout. So these people you hear elite, these are punks with power. That's what they are, that have duped someone into thinking that they're some kind of a superhuman, and we hear elite, and then people make up in their mind, oh, they're dealing with some elite creature out there. These are punks with power. They're men, the same as any one of us, or maybe not even as much a man of us. You know what I mean? And I think we're creating something here that don't exist. You know, they don't have all this superpower. They were born, they're going to live for a while, and then they're going to die just like us. So, Bob, I want to pass that on to you because you seem to be saying that, you know, when these guys give orders to do bad stuff, it has to get done or else. And I dispute that point.
Well, generally speaking, it's true, but
I just proved that it wasn't.
There are exceptions, and I didn't even know of the one you mentioned, and I'm happy to hear that. It's just like in the military being given an illegal order, and you don't have to follow that order. If you complain and say, no, I won't go out and shoot everybody with blue eyes, and, you know, just to make an example. But, you know, most people try to take the easy way out. They don't like confrontation, and that's why these people are successful, and they realize that. And they realize the positions that they have will protect them against things like that. And, of course,
but it's the fault of the American
in the case
people.
of Spitzer, he backed down, and that was fortunate. I'm glad he did.
Right, but there is action that can be taken. What I'm saying is there are mechanisms in place for this not to happen.
Well, I think you got a very good point, and I'm glad you called in and voiced it.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it very much. A new Dave from New York. What, do they just grow Daves in New York? Every call we've gotten from New York is Dave. We'll be right back.